move on from Kotaku. Dragon's Dogma 2, one of the most anticipated releases of this year, but it is not been favorably received in some of the PC space. Got a lot of little controversy around its release on PC. And this is Dragon Dogma Performance Analysis. It'll take everything your PC has and still wants more. Dragon Dogma 2, and this is from PC Gamer. This is by Nick Evanson. Uses Capcom's Reach the Moon engine, which used great success for RE4 Remake and Monster Hunter Rise. Uses large seamless maps, such as the same thing in Dragon's Dogma 2. Hey Ryan, how's it going? That means that there are no loading screens, and primarily jump into the game. But such games are generally most demanding of gaming PCs, and they're no different here. So let's find out just how tough it is. And this is kind of an interesting thing. Performance of Dragon Dogma can be summarized in one utterance: CPU. It doesn't really matter whether you're measuring performance in the city or in the open world. The processor and platform will play a huge role in determining whether or not your graphics card has a chance to shine in the game. If you have a mid-range or budget PC, you'll likely see performance figures in the excess of 60 FPS in the open areas. In the main cities, though, you'll be looking to hit half that figure, even at 480p with low-quality settings. Only with modern CPU graphic cards can stand a chance of having a smooth gaming experience. Capcom's recommended hardware requirements should really be viewed as the absolute minimum, and ideally you're going to need a 12th gen Core Ryzen 5000 series or a better CPU. You can get away with having just 6 cores as long as the chip supports multi-threading at least. Hopefully, most of the frame rate issues will be solved in a further gaming patch and driver updates. There's clearly a lot of work to be done in optimizing everything in the future, and they go, have some. I'm not super PC savvy. It's been a long time, but as far as what's a good core and what isn't, but they kind of show 1080 performance max settings. It kind of shows just how low some of these things get, 19 to 15. So Dragon Dogma 2 not very well optimized on PC. I even hear some of the consoles are having some issues. So it's a very demanding game. And they might have some work to do on that front. But that wasn't really the only thing. It's probably not the thing that people are getting the most upset about. This is a Dragon's Dogma, more like Drags My Wallet. Jesus Christ, Capcom. You find it after 118 minutes. Paying for fast travel, paying for character editing, paying for revive stones. Bro, it's a $100 game. What the F? And then, Dragon Dogma 2. Well, this is Australian money. So I assume A and dollar signs mean Australian money, but whatever. But this kind of goes over just how many microtransactions. You got and this is something that Capcom has done before. But people, don't really like it all that much. I can kind of see why. Here. Music and sound, all right, whatever, but it's like Harpy Smoke Beacon, Heartfelt Pendant, Rift Incense, just a keys, Wake Stones, this Restored a Dead to Life, Rift Crystals, just a little cha-ching, 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 little here trinkets and stuff for in-game items. Paying for in-game items is kind of weird, and this kind of lays this for PC Focus. Dragon's Dogma receiving mostly negative reviews. I think between the performance issues and the humongous list of little items that you can buy, people were not happy. And I don't know how many of these people actually bought the game, but we'll get into that later. Hey, how's it going, X-Runner? Looks like Paradox game with a lot of content. Yeah, there's a lot of extras here, but this is Fighting Cowboy. He did a lot of cool armored core guides. In the 100 hours I played into Dragon's Dogma, I haven't needed a single market. I think MTX means microtransaction. Character changes, camp gear, where shown, recruiters, etc. All of it's obtained in game. Literally just play the game and you get all the stuff. So there was kind of people initially maybe outrage baiting in a way, saying oh my gosh, I have to pay for all of this stuff. And then a lot of people were kind of striking back at that and saying, you know what? You can just get it all in the game. You know, you don't have to buy this stuff. Don't worry about it. If you play the game, you'll get it. And then he says, like, later, to be honest, I'm not even sure why they added micros, as they're not necessary, because people will buy them. That's why, cowboy. By the end, you have like 6 or so port crystals, countless camping sets, wake stones, farmables. RC is barely touched. There's no tangible reason to buy the microtransactions. You can also have 2 to 3 character changes in game. So all this stuff is attainable. But of course, Capcom being Capcom, which continue to make really great games with some of the most awful decisions in terms of like how they interact with their customers, really. But you know, despite all the chatter, all the performance issues, they came out with this blog. Before I get to that, and then they kind of addressed some of this. We would like to update you the status of the following items, which have been received numerous comments in the community. So Crash and Bugs, they're investigating it. Options to start a new game. That was one other thing, that like, you can't like really restart a new game very easy. Featured added the Steam version of the game, which will allow players that are already playing to restart the game. So if you want to start over, you'll announce more details as they come. Paid DLC. All the items listed below can be attainable in-game as such. So they heard a lot of the microtransactions. I'm sure they're not glad to be seeing a lot of negative reviews. But they got they mentioned all the Sith Artimancer Metamorphosis with the character editor, Amulet Rift Crystal. And then regarding the frame rate issues, a large amount of CPU usage is allocated to each character in calculating the impact of their physical presence in various areas. In certain situations where numerous characters appear simultaneously, the CPU usage can be very high and may affect the frame rate. Beware of such situations. Settings that reduce GPU load may currently have limited effect. However, we are looking ways to improve performance in the future. So with all this sort of negative reviews, they had to address it. So, and none of this really actually fixes anything. That might come later. But of course, you know, despite all of this, we have has received over 224,000 concurrent players. This is Capcom's biggest Steam launch ever for a single-player game, more than 30% higher than the Resident Evil 4 remake. So despite all of this, they have been incredibly successful. And this is, you know, the current peak, very high, you know, hundreds of thousands of players are playing the game, probably buying some of those microtransactions. So despite all the complaining, Capcom is still being incredibly successful. It is kind of a shame that they decide to put in these microtransactions. And you know what? I don't have their numbers as far as how much they sell in those microtransactions. So they might, you know, say like right now, they probably will ignore it. They'll probably still do this. It really depends on whether they think the negative press outweighs the money that the microtransactions made. And I have a feeling, just, you know, kind of based on my knowledge of people, they're making plenty of money off normies right now. People that, oh, you know, hey, I'll get some Rift Zones. I'll pay, you know, a few extra bucks to get some stuff to help me out. Of course, they've already released tons of mods that will get you that stuff for free. We'll see if Capcom tries to shut those down. Well, they will, actually. This Capcom has had, and I could almost kind of see that case for removing mods, but obviously we know Capcom from some other games, not a huge fan of mods right now. Definitely attacking them. And this is, of course, the microtransactions, another example of their sort of anti-consumer strategies.